Hi class, my name is Stephanie Haney and I have chosen to do a virtual tour of the Chicago Art Institute, focusing on a work by Raphael, which is Pluto, which is also a very popular cherub you'll see on greeting cards and little statues and things of that nature. So let's get started. First of all, the museum, which is the Art Institute of Chicago, it's a very large museum. They have several floors, as you can see here. All the floors are divided by art type, such as photography, drawings, modern art, things like that. They offer several ways to do a virtual tour. One of those ways are guided tours. Another way is to just simply look through their collections that they would normally have on their floors. You can look through them virtually. There were several different exhibits. I've highlighted a couple of them here. My favorite one was the ties by Wayne Thiebaud. He put those beautiful ties on a rack and displayed them as artwork, which was amazing. And it just reminded me of my son, so that's why I picked that one. But moving forward to Pluto. So Pluto is a cherub. We don't know the exact date that Raphael created this drawing of Pluto. We do know that he used, it was in the Renaissance period. It was between the 14th and 17th centuries. And that he used Pluto in other works, such as his very famous Madonnas. If we look at the background information, we're taking a look that lots of these, specifically Pluto, were intended for church. Many of the artworks you'll see from Raphael are displayed in churches, specifically Catholic churches. When Raphael created Pluto, he did it in a very, what I would call humble way. It was done on woven canvas with black crayon and white chalk. That's something that my kids would do, which makes this even more of an innocent photo. Raphael was a Renaissance artist, as you know, and here's some just general information on him. He was born in 1483. He was born in Italy. He died also in Italy. It was in 1520. So he didn't live very long. He wasn't very old. He was trained as an apprentice. He went through apprenticeship, which lots of Renaissance artists did. They didn't really get formal education like you and I are getting today, but they were trained as apprentices and brought up to be masters. As a child, Raphael experienced losing his father, and he ended up taking over his father's workshop. That made him known, and he was commissioned to paint at the Church of San Nicola in Castello, and he became a master painter in Perugia, which was a really great start for him. There were several. When we look at all the Renaissance artists, they all went through similar things with the different socioeconomic conditions. Raphael worked post-plague, so he was working with a recovering economy. There were urban populations that were increasing. Even though that was happening post-plague, we still had a lot of rural populations. The political conditions of Raphael's time, we see that he was under the rule of King Charles. There was also the Italian states that were supported in 1499 and the conquest of Milan, which is a very big event. The biggest one I thought was the Treaty of Granada between the French and the Spanish when they came together to invade the kingdom. Like I said before, most of the paintings you'll see from Raphael and lots of Renaissance artists are displayed in churches and mainly Catholic churches. During that time of Raphael, it was a lot of Roman Catholicism, several popes. Raphael was known for his large figure composition. You'll see those Madonnas are very large. Pluto is the one I chose. It was actually a smaller work for Raphael. He used the Neoplatonic stylistic style, which was the ideal of human grandeur. He thought humans were amazing, which they are. He used his clarity of form to his advantage. He didn't really develop a specific form, but the clarity of his forms were what helped him do well and be recognizable. Like I said before, he was best known for his Madonnas, which you'll see 3 of them here. These are all at the Met. And they are different depictions of Mary and Jesus. But back to Pluto. So Pluto is a cherub. He is referenced in the Bible. He's winged, he's angelic, and that's part of the reason I chose him. He shows a calmness. This is a very calm photo. Anytime you see Pluto in any of his other works, such as the Madonnas, you will see the calmness of Pluto, which is another reason I really liked it. It is monochromatic. He uses shading to create dimension, to create flow of the work. And that's another reason I like it. I like very simple works, and this is a very simple work. Now, in some of the Madonnas, you will see if Pluto is there, he will have color, because most of the Madonnas are colored. The texture of this, it's more of a smooth texture. The only dimensions I can see is the wispiness of his hair, the clouds, the wings, and you do see that with the shading. That's the biggest way that Raphael in this photo created texture. The depth also, depth and texture kind of in this one I feel go hand in hand. The depth, you see the wings, the clouds. You can see that there's multiple layers of clouds. Maybe one of them is a little bit closer than the other, and Pluto's resting on them, which is very interesting to me. The form, so this is a closed form. You're drawn to the subject in the center of the drawing, and it's the absolute reason that this photo was done. Like I said, I chose Pluto because he's calm, he's innocent, and he's very angelic and very sweet looking, and that's one of the reasons I chose him. I also chose him because if you take a look at modern art, you'll see Plutos are all over the place. They're on statues, and they're in paintings and different calendars, things like that. So it's very interesting to me that in his original form he was just black and white, but he's been colorized and he's been brought into modern art. His direction of his gaze in the photo is very inspiring to me, because it's almost as he's gazing upward towards God, which is the one who created him, which is very interesting. And if you see him in other photos such as Madonna's, he's also gazing upward. He's very sweet, very admirable, and he's admiring and looking up towards his creator. I think it's a meaningful drawing because it's representing innocence and purity. It's very beautiful. It's used throughout years, throughout different centuries, to highlight innocence and purity. And you'll see it on greeting cards for sympathy cards. So it's very calming and very beautiful. So sorry. And then finally, the value of this work, I think it's the biggest value is the religious depiction of the work. I think when you look at the drawing and you see it in other religious works, it just makes that drawing resonate even more. And I think it brings value of religion by showing the nature of the little cherub, the Pluto. And I think Raphael did a really great job of depicting that, both on its own as a single photo, and then when he integrated it into different works he had, such as the Madonnas. I had a really good time exploring the museum. I had a really good time choosing a Renaissance artist, and I had a really good time just looking through all the different photos and works and analyzing them, especially the one I chose. Thanks so much.